This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, friends. Welcome to vividtrainings.com. So, till the last class, we have seen what are the different types of joins, what is subquery, derived tables, ranking functions, CTE, right? So, the SQL, dynamic SQL, how to write the dynamic SQL, and how to declare the variables, what are the temporary tables, stable variables, string functions, and all those things we have learned, right? So the T-SQL programming also we have started. We have done views, functions, and stored procedures. What are the differences? Very, very, very important interview questions. Complete in each and every topic we have seen, right? So today the last topic is on triggers. So what is meant by trigger? So where we are going to be using this triggers? Very, 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 very important interview question. So what is a trigger? What is the purpose of trigger? Okay, why we need to use the trigger? So these kind of questions they are going to be asking. Okay, so now let us understand what is a trigger. Okay, what is the need of trigger, types and features? So first of all, before going to the trigger, let us understand, let us revise what is the check constraint, right? So everyone knows about check constraints. What check constraint is going to be doing? So we know that. So what are the constraints in SQL Server? Yesterday I asked the question. So very, 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 very important interview question. What are the constraints in SQL Server? So we know that primary key, null, default, unique key, foreign key, right? So check constraints, triggers, right? So identity property, these are called, okay, constraints in SQL Server. So why we are going to be using, why these are going to be acting as a constraints? So why? Because by using these features, by using these properties, we are going to be validating the data. Am I right or wrong? So primary key, it is not going to be allowing the duplicate values, right? So what is null? So null we cannot use, right? Why? It is going to be doing some arithmetical operations, wrong arithmetical operations we are going to be getting in the output, right? So like that, each and every feature, constraint, check constraint, what check constraint, it is also used to validate the data. We have done the column level and the table level check constraint we have created till now. Am I right? So what is the column level check constraint we have created? So column level, so for example, if you take the employee table, so employee ID, employee name, gender, salary. So gender, we are going to be having a male or female, right? Male or female gender we are going to be having. So we are going to be writing one check constraint on that gender column. Okay, gender is equal to male or gender is equal to female. This check constraint we are going to be writing, right? So apart from this male and female, apart from M or F, we are not going to be inserting any data into the table. So when you try to insert the data into the table like that, the bad data apart from M or F, if you insert A, B like that, it is going to be showing an error, right? So this is nothing but the SQL Server is going to be validating what is the expression you have written for that column. So that column, okay, that data should validate. The data is going to be validating before inserting, right? That kind of thing we have done, we have seen very beautifully. And table level also we have seen. So like grade A, okay, so if you got some marks, then you are going to be grade A. If you are going to be getting some other marks, then you are going to be get grade B. Like that we have written, right? So this is the table level. Expression can involve more than one column from the same table. So in the same table only the marks, it depends upon the marks we have given the grades, right? So these are nothing but check constraints we have seen clearly. Then okay, what check constraints are going to be allowing? So these are the following operators it is going to be allowing. Does not support programming constructs like if else, loop, etc. We cannot declare any variables in the check constraints. Am I right or wrong? So how we are going to be writing the check constraint? Check gender equal to male or gender equal to female, bracket close. That is the constraint expression we have written for the check constraint, right? So we cannot write any if else statements or looping everything. We cannot declare variables in the check constraints we cannot do anything. Okay, but we know the very important point, it always works with the same table, cannot work across the table. The check constraints, these check constraints are going to be doing like this. Okay, you need to explain. If anyone is asking what is a check constraint, it is going to be used to validate the data. It always works with the same table, cannot work on another tables. It is not going to be working with another tables. You can do column level expression, you can write column level expression, you can do column level check constraint. Okay, you can do the table level, multiple columns also you can use. Okay, multiple columns also you can use, and you can work, right? You can create such a check constraint. So it is not going to be working with another table. So remember this point. Okay, you need to say this point, it always works with the same table, cannot work across the tables. Okay, so use a check constraint when the requirement is simple, else use triggers. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, so if we are having the very simple requirement, like, so where the gender equal to male or female, okay, where we have seen in Indian bank we are having a transaction type column. So transaction type is equal to CQD, that is check deposit, or transaction type is equal to cash withdrawal CD, or transaction type is equal to cash withdrawal CW, right? So these kind of very simple, okay, simple requirement these are, so we can use the check constraints. So if we are having other requirement, very complex requirement, then go for the triggers. Okay, check constraints are faster in performance, triggers are slower in performance. So let us see why these. Okay, purpose, check constraints and triggers both will validate the data during DML operations. Both are same, guys. Okay, check constraint, what check constraint is doing, it is going to be validating the data in the table level only. Okay, column level and table level in the same table, that too. But triggers can validate the data in between the tables. Okay, tables, I'm telling you, use the check constraint when the requirement is simple, else use triggers. Check constraint example, salary cannot be negative. So how you are going to be writing salary cannot be negative? Okay, so check salary is greater than 0, that is a check constraint. Okay, so these are the very simple requirements, so we can use check constraint. Coming to trigger example, customer cannot withdraw more than rupees 40,000. Okay, more than rupees 40,000 he cannot do. Okay, so per day, understand, guys? So if you are doing, customer cannot withdraw more than 40,000, okay, rupees per day using ATM. So if he is going to be doing more than 3 transactions, okay, more than, or else more than 40,000 if he has done, 45,000 if he has done, so for 5,000 they are going to be charging you. Okay, some interest they are going to be taking from your account, right? So this kind of validation, so this kind of validation, how we are going to be writing, by using a trigger we are going to be writing. So prefer a check constraint, check constraints are faster than trigger, hence always use a check constraints first, if not then use triggers. So the shall we write any check constraints on this requirement? Is it possible? No, right? So in that case go with the triggers, that is the thing. Okay, these are some examples. Account holder in a bank cannot make more than 3 transactions per day. When a transaction is altered, the difference between the old amount and the new amount cannot be more than 10%. Transactions can't be made for closed accounts, right? That is right. So what is the need? So I will show you. So let us understand first how the triggers, how the check constraints, where the check constraints are going, have been created. So for example, let me go back. Let me open the databases. Let me open the Indian bank. Let me open the, okay. So where are these tables? So in this tables, no, in this, not in this tables, we are going to be having in a programmability, see, database triggers, we are having some database triggers. So we are going to be creating the triggers here. So we know that some check constraints have been created. So where the constraints are going to be created, so when you see, Okay, when you go to the account master table, this is the account master table. Okay, so in this for this account master table, what is the check constraint we have created? So we can see like this also, right? So for example, okay, how we are going to be doing, how we are going to be sp underscore help. Okay, sp underscore help text. So the table name, account master table. Okay, drag and drop this. When you execute this, so you are going to be getting, there is no text for object account master, sp underscore help. Yeah, so now we can see that what are the check constraints we have created on account master table. So we are having check on column status. So we have written, see, status is equals to c, or status is equal to I, or status is equal to o. That means closed, inoperative and operative, right? So we have created one check constraint. So if you see for the transaction master table, so if you see for the transaction master table, so we have created some check constraint. Transaction type, see, this is the transaction type. Transaction type is equal to check deposit, or transaction type is equal to check deposit. Okay, sorry, okay, cash deposit. And the transaction type is equals to cash withdrawal, right? So we have created, you can see over here also, when you double click on this, we are having some triggers, sorry, not triggers, constraints. So in this constraint, double click on this constraint, check constraint. So one constraint we have created on transaction master. What is that constraint? This is the constraint name, and this is the constraint expression. So this expression we have written. If you want to change, you can change. So apart from this check deposit, cash withdrawal, you are not going to be taking any other values. You are not going to be inserting any other things. Am I right? Am I right? Okay, so you are not going to be taking any other. If you give cf, okay, it is not going to be taking that, it is going to be showing an error. Understand, guys? So you can change if you want to change the constraint over here. Okay, so this is how you are going to be understanding. Okay, check constraints are going to be created over there. So now let us understand, let me show you some beautiful scenarios. Okay, so select star from account master table. Okay, so where, let me see one of the person, 1000002. Okay, let us understand this guy. So this guy is Rahul. Rahul is having a 30,000 of a clear balance. Okay, so when you see, okay, for example, okay, so select star from transaction master table, where ACID is equals to, okay, 10002. When you see how many transactions he has done, so he has done cash withdrawal, cash withdrawal, cash deposit, cash withdrawal. He has done so much of amount. Finally, he is having some amount in balance. Okay, 30,000 is the balance he is having. Okay, so let me insert some data into the transaction master table. Okay, insert into transaction master table values. What are the values I need to provide? So see, transaction master. So transaction master, transaction number is automatic generated number. This is having what? This is having transaction number is identity property. Okay, guys, identity property. I have given identity property. That means automatically it is going to be generating. Okay, automatic generating a number. So I don't provide while inserting. So let me give get date function, today's date and time for date of transaction, ACID 10002. Let me insert. So I shall I insert branch 3. Okay, for example, let us understand branch 3. When I do cash withdrawal, okay, cash withdrawal, comma, okay, check number, you can make it as a null, Okay, transaction amount in 330,000, I am going to be doing a 5,000 rupees of cash withdraw. Okay, user id, some people 101, some clerk or manager or teller has done transaction, he has approved, let us understand like that. Now when I insert the data, okay, so one row has been affected. When you see the data, so let me write one more condition, date diff. Okay, so date diff of dd comma date of transaction comma get date function, okay, equals to 0 today. Okay, today transaction 0 is nothing but today transaction what he has done. Okay, let me see. Now see, this is the transaction number on this date and the time he has done transaction. This fellow in branch BR3 cash withdrawal is 5,000 rupees he has done. Everything is fine. Okay, beautifully. Now when you go and check his balance, still his balance is 30,000. How it is possible? Okay, so if this kind of scenario repeats in the real life, okay, is anyone is going to be staying in the home? Okay, there will be a very big queue on the in the ATM, right? Inside, like in front of ATM there would be a big queue. Okay, so this is a very bad. Okay, the SQL server, what we are doing, we are inserting very bad data. Okay, SQL server, we are going to be inserting very bad data. We are using some check constraints. By using some check constraints also, we are what we are doing, we are inserting some bad data. See, so when you have cash withdrawal of 5,000 rupees, this guy is having 30,000. So after doing a cash withdrawal, this guy should get 25, right? Am I right? So some 5,000 rupees should deduct from his account. Am I right? Okay, so but it has not happened. Why? So why it has not happened? Okay, why it has not happened, tell me guys. Okay, why it has not happened? 30,000. So it is very bad. So we are not validating the data, we are not validating the data correctly, right? So in this case, so what we are going to be doing, this is a very bad validation we are going to be doing, right? Okay, so to overcome these issues, okay, so what we need to write, what we need to create one trigger in between the tables. Okay, when you do some cash withdrawal, the money has to deduct from his account. When you do some cash deposit, for example, let me do the cash deposit in a branch BR1. Okay, so how many rupees? Some, let us understand, 2,000 rupees somebody has approved that. Now let me execute this. Okay, 2,000 should add in his account. Am I right? Somebody, his father sent it to, okay, his son some 2,000 rupees. So when this son has went, okay, so he can open the net banking and he checked that, so cash deposit has done in his account of rupees 2,000. But when he go and check his balance, the balance is still 30,000 only. Okay, so how bad we have created, how, okay, how badly it is going to be doing the validation. Okay, it is very bad, right? So we are going to be loading complete bad data, we are going to be loading in the database. In this complete database, we are having the bad data, simply bad data. The client, if the client sees this, okay, he will cancel the complete project with you guys. Okay, so to overcome these kind of things, okay, so you need to validate when the cash deposit has done. So what is the transaction amount? That transaction amount should add in his account balance. Okay, when the cash withdrawal has done, how much withdrawal has done, that transaction amount should affect in his account balance. Okay, so that kind of things we need to do, that kind of things we need to write. So completely guys, most of the time triggers are going to be created in the banking sector, banking domain only. So why? Because most of the time completely on the transactions, right? So the transaction very important guys, this why? Because if anyone has written very some logic has been mismatched or some logic has been crashed, then you are gone. Okay, you are gone, completely gone. So you need to write the triggers very carefully. So without triggers there would be no, okay, banking sector. Okay, without triggers there are no banking sectors. So this kind of work, this kind of back-end work, no one is going to be doing. Not a Java developer, not a .NET developer, not anyone. Okay, no one can do this kind of, no one can write this kind of coding in the backend. So we are the developers, we are going to be writing this kind of logics inside, okay, the SQL server. So to get the correct data, to validate the correct data, we are having one of the property called, one of the feature in SQL server is, one of the constraint in SQL server is triggers. Okay, so these triggers are going to be doing this kind of things. When wherever there is an cash deposit, it is going to be updating. Wherever there is a cash withdrawal, it is going to be withdrawing. Okay, not only this, so many actions, so many things we can do by using the trigger, right? So you know, you understand, right? We will do one demo on this. Okay, we will do one demo on this. Okay, so these are the things we are going to be working with the triggers. Very beautiful things we are going to be having for the trigger. Okay, so now, so let us understand pre-processing validations. So before creating a trigger, okay, before creating a trigger, so what kind of things we are going to be having? Okay, before creating a trigger, what kind of things we need to do, what the trigger is going to be doing? It is going to be doing some validation, complex business rules, rules involving columns from more than one tables, rules involving old and new data in the same tables. Okay, so the validations it is going to be doing. So what kind of validations it is going to be doing? Whether the transaction master table is available or not, whether the account master table is available or not, whether the transaction type has done cash withdrawal or okay, cash deposit or cash withdrawal we are having. So it is going to be checking all the validations, it is going to be doing all the validations. First it has to do the validations on what tables we are going to be taking. Okay, so in a for example, for a transaction table, for transaction master table, so we are going to be creating one trigger on a transaction master table. So when you create one trigger on transaction master table, it is going to be doing some validations, whether this table is having the any constraints. Okay, so what type of transaction types it is having, what kind of date of transactions it is having, all those things it is going to be doing some validating. So post processing, that means a job, it is going to be doing some job. So what kind of job? So after validating the table, okay, after validating the table, what job the trigger has to do? Okay, what job the trigger has to do? So DML operations in same table or different tables you can do. Understand guys? First step, when you create a trigger, okay, first step, so step one, okay, step one, when you create a trigger, okay, so when you create a trigger, what is going to be doing? It is going to be doing a validation. Okay, so it is going to be doing the validation. What kind of validation? Okay, whether the table is having any constraints, whether the table is having a, what kind of data types it is having, all the things it is going to be doing the validation. Next it is going to be doing the job. What kind of a job? So what kind of job you required to? Okay, so you are going to be creating one trigger. Why you are going to create the trigger? Why guys? Why you are going to be creating a trigger? Why? Because I want to insert, when somebody did the cash deposit, that deposit amount should update in account balance. When somebody has done a check deposit or cash withdrawal or cash deposit, so that has to be affected in the Okay, so account master, so you are inserting, okay, some row are some row is inserting in the transaction master, and that, okay, some column has to be updated in the account master table. So you are going to be doing what kind of jobs you are going to be doing? Insert, update, delete, it is going to be doing. Okay, so we are going to be doing these kind of jobs. Okay, so what kind of jobs? DML operations in the same table or a different table. Understand, guys? So these are the things you need to understand. What are the what is the need of trigger, why it is going to, what it is going to be doing when you create a trigger. First, it is going to be validating all the tables what you are taken, and after it is going to be doing some job. That job is okay, that job is nothing but the DML operations. Understand, guys? So what are the types of triggers we are having? DDL triggers and DML triggers. So DML triggers are in two types. So one is after or for, instead of. Okay, so when does a trigger fire? Okay, so when does a trigger fire? During the DML operations. So let me explain you. So when you have created one trigger on this, okay, so how we are going to be creating a trigger means create a trigger name. Okay, so like this, some as a begin, some end, some blah blah blah, you are writing some code, you are going to be creating a trigger. That is fine. So when you are creating a trigger, okay, so how we are going to be calling that a trigger? You are going to be calling like a select star from trigger name. Okay, is it going to be possible? No, you cannot call the trigger. Okay, you cannot call the trigger. That is a very very important point. So during, okay, can I call a trigger explicitly? That means manually I can call or not? No, the answer is no. Okay, sir, why we cannot call? So we can call by like select star from trigger name or else execute trigger name, like that we can use, right, sir? So no, we cannot call trigger. When you are going to be calling the trigger, what does a trigger fire? So during the DML operations, the trigger is going to be switching on, firing. Okay, it is going to be fire. Okay, when you are doing, okay, when you are doing the, okay, DML operations. What are DML operations? Insert, update, delete, right? When you are doing insert, okay, the trigger is going to be fired. When you are going to be doing update, the trigger is going to be fired. When you are going to be deleting, the trigger is going to be fired. Okay, so you cannot manually, you cannot explicitly, you cannot do, you cannot call a trigger. Remember this point. If the interviewers are going to be confused you, so can you please tell me what is the syntax to create a view, how to call a view? Okay, they are going to be asking. Then what about the stored procedure? Okay, you can say that stored procedure like this, like this. So what about the trigger? Okay, so when you write the syntax, okay, if syntax is fine, so how to call a trigger? Select star from trigger name, then you are gone. Okay, you are rejected. So why? Because you cannot call trigger explicitly, you cannot call trigger manually, you cannot write select star from trigger name and execute it. It is not going to be working. So during the DML operations only it is going to be working. Okay, so we are having a different types of triggers, right? So after and instead of. Okay, so what is after means, when you create a trigger, after insert you need to the trigger is fired. After update the trigger is fired. After delete the trigger is going to be fired. Okay, instead, so instead of trigger, instead of insert, okay, instead of update, instead of delete, we are going to be firing. So note, trigger cannot be created on a column, it can be created on a table. Remember this point. But a check constraint we can create at, okay, check constraint on one column and multiple columns in the same table. But the trigger cannot be created on the column, it can be created on a table. So multiple tables you can create a trigger on multiple tables. Truncate does not invoke a trigger, so it is not going to be supported. Okay, syntax of a trigger: create a trigger name on which table you want to create. So what type? So you want insert, update, delete. Okay, so after doing the validation, this is nothing but validation on table name. So to this table, it is going to this table, it is going to be validating what kind of data you are having. So next, what type you required, what job you need to do, insert, update, delete job I need to do. So as begin code, you can write end go, that's it. Okay, after or for a trigger, so can be created only on the tables, multiple insert, update, delete triggers. So when you create one trigger, so you need to insert some data. When you have inserted some data, then the automatically the trigger is going to be fired. When you do some update, automatically the trigger is going to be fired. When you do delete, automatically the trigger is going to be fired. Remember this point, guys. Okay, so this is nothing but after. Okay, after you are going to be doing. Now use sp underscore set trigger order to order the trigger file sequence. So there is a insert, update, delete. So you can set trigger order. So first, if you want to do update, you can do update. Next you want to do insert, you can do insert. Next you want to do delete, or else first you want to delete, you can do. So like that you can set the trigger order. Okay, so find last order in the transaction. You can set one trigger that first it. Okay, first, so first which should be fired, first insert should be fired. So last what should be fired, last delete should be fired. Okay, so this kind of things you can use by setting order. So create a trigger, some trigger name on employee table for update. So only update you are going to be doing, as if update last name. So begin. So cannot change the last name 16 comma 1. Some they have written something. Okay, so instead of trigger, so can be created on the tables views. Only one, instead of trigger of a given type, insert, update, delete. Okay, only one instead of trigger we can give, insert or update or delete. Any one of the type you can give instead of trigger. Okay, instead of insert, instead of update, or instead of delete, like this. Okay, this trigger gets fired instead of transaction. Okay, instead of a transaction, instead of update, if you want to fire, you can fire. Instead of delete, you can fire. Okay, instead of delete. Okay, instead of delete means this is not going to be used, these two are going to be used and fired. Okay, so instead of trigger, instead of update, you are going to be updating some blah blah blah. Else go ahead and do update or some other business rules here. Okay guys, so trigger maintenance, what we are going to be doing, create a trigger on a table or a view. We can do, can reference objects in more than 1 dB. Okay, cannot create on a temporary table or a system table. Okay, remember this point, we cannot do on temporary table. With encryption option, alter trigger, drop trigger, deferred name resolution, all we can do. Okay, with encryption also we can use. Trigger text, any dml comma text statement. Dml is coming under insert, update, delete. The select is also comes under that, but it is separate. Okay, t-SQL syntax, if update column. Okay, test for insert or update action to be specified column. So these are the some of the things we are having. So what is a magic table? Okay, magic, you need to understand what is a magic table. Okay, so what is mean by magic table? So we are having some dml operations, right? So insert, update, delete. Okay, select is also a dml operation, but we are going to be not using here. By using select, we can read the data, that is not an issue. Okay, what is a magic table? So why we are going to be using a magic table? Okay, so when you create a trigger, automatically magic tables are going to be created. Sir, where these are going to be created? These are going to be created in the RAM. Remember this point. Okay, the interview question, when you create a trigger, what you are going to be creating? Okay, So when we create a trigger, automatically one magic table, this is nothing but a magic table, this magic tables are going to be created in the RAM. Okay, this inserted in one, inserted is nothing but one table, deleted is nothing but one more table. These tables are going to be created in the RAM. Okay, when you insert, okay, let us understand. Okay, so when you insert, when you do insert, so you are going to be inserting into the inserted table, there is a no deletion. Okay, there is a no deletion. Okay, when you are inserted, there is no deletion, guys. When you do update, then you need to understand first. Okay, the RAM is empty. Okay, RAM is empty, created with two tables, those are inserted table and deleted table. So in inserted table, when you are doing insert option, insert operation, when you are doing some insert operation, so you are going to be, so where it is, when you are doing some insert operation, like just now we have done cash withdrawal, cash deposit, right? When you have done all these things, then you are going to be inserted. Okay, you are going to be inserting some rows in inserted table, remember this point. Okay, this is inserted table. Automatically the SQL server is going to be creating one table in RAM, that is inserted table. So when you insert some data, it is going to be inserted into the inserted table. There is no deletion, nothing is available. Okay, when you do update, so what kind of update you are doing? When you comes to update, what kind of update you are doing? For example, there is a balance called 10,000 or else 1,000, so cash, okay, or else branch BR3. So let us understand BR3. So you have inserted, so you want to update the branch BR3 into BR1. Okay, BR1 you are going to be updating, the balance is the same 10, okay, some 1,000. So when you do update this, okay, this, if you update this, then what you are going to be getting, the new rows, the new updated rows are going to be coming in the inserted table. This old row are going to be coming into the deleted table. Understand, guys? Understand what I'm trying to say? Okay, am I clear? So when you go, okay, so when you go and update some branch of this transaction, of particular transaction of 100 10003 to, okay, this ACID transaction BR3, if you want to update that BR3 into BR1, then you are going to be loading the new data in a new table, that is new records in the inserted table, and the old records are going to be loaded into the deleted table. Okay, the old rows are available in the deleted table. Okay, so when you are going to be deleting the data, so what kind of data you are going to be deleting? You are going to be deleting the old rows, remember this point. Okay, no new rows are going to be deleted when you create a trigger, remember this point. Okay, that old rows are going to be creating. Very very interesting point, guys, very very interesting thing about the magic tables. Okay, where this table is going to be created in the RAM. Okay, this inserted and deleted tables are created in the RAM by SQL server automatically when you create a trigger. Okay, when you insert, so it is going to be inserted table. Okay, so after, it is not going to be deleting, it is not going to be doing any delete. Okay, so when you do update for that record, the old data, whatever the old data you are having, it is going to be moving into the old, in a deleted table as old rows and old records. So the new updated data will come into inserted table. Okay, when you do some deletion, okay, when you do some deletion, the old rows, first the old rows are going to be deleted, not the new rows. Okay, we are going to be having some backup. If you are going to be, okay, deleting the new rows, then we are having the old rows, we are going to be having some backup the rows for triggers. Understand, guys, what I'm trying to say? Okay, so this is about the magic tables. You need to understand very beautiful things. Okay, very beautiful things you need to understand about the magic tables. Okay, so okay, this is the thing you need to understand. Now let me go back. Nested triggers up to 32 levels you can create. So for one thing, so now, so let us do one small demo on this. Okay, so let me do, so when I do the cash deposit, that money, that amount should update in the account master. When I do cash withdrawal or check deposit, that should update, that should affect in the account master table. So let me create one, okay, beautiful trigger. Okay, so now how to create a trigger? So we know that syntax, create trigger. So trigger name, so let me give the trigger name. What kind of trigger name? So transactions. Okay, so this is the trigger name. So let us understand, this is a trigger name. Now, okay, on which table you are going to be creating the trigger? On, okay, on which table, guys? On which table? On a transaction master table. Okay, on a transaction master table I am going to create. So what type? Okay, for or after, what type you are going to be doing? So insert, okay, insert, okay, insert, update, delete. Okay, so I want to do these types. Okay, I want to do these types. Okay, as begin and end. Okay, so in this I am going to be writing some, okay, some triggers, okay, some code to affect the balance in the account master table. Okay, so now what I need to do, first of all, what I need to do, so I want to declare some variables. Okay, I want to declare some variables. From those variables I want to validate the data. Okay, by using those variables I want to validate the data. Okay, declare ACID integer, and again declare at the rate transaction type. So let us understand transaction type. So this is trans check deposit, right? So character 3 comma, okay, so no commas, nothing, I'm sorry. Now declare, okay, one more variable I am going to be declaring. So transaction amount, so let us understand how much a transaction amount you have done. So what type of transaction type, what is the account ID? So let us take these things. So transaction amount, we know money. Okay, so first what I need to do, get the customer information first. Okay, get the customer information. So into which table, from where I need to get the customer information? So select star from, okay, inserted table. Remember this point. Okay, so this is a magic table. Automatically the trigger, the SQL server is going to be creating one table called inserted. So in this inserted table, okay, so you are going to be having complete transaction master data. Okay, so see, transaction number, date of transaction, ACID, BRID, transaction type, check number, check date, okay, transaction amount, user ID. So on which table you are going to be creating the trigger? So that table data you can have in the inserted table. Okay, so now I don't want all columns, I want, okay, I want, so ACID comma, so transaction type comma, and the other things, what other things I am having? A transaction amount I required, right? So transaction amount I required, I have taken the transaction amount also. Okay, this data I want to load, okay, this data I want to load into, okay, these variables, whatever the variables I have created. Okay, so now transaction type. So what is meant by transaction type? So what a transaction type you are going to be doing? This transaction type. What transaction amount you are going to be doing? This transaction amount. Okay, so the complete data, what is the data available in this, okay, is going to be inserting into this. Understand, guys? Okay, so now you have done something, okay, you have loaded some data into this, that is fine. So now, okay, if transaction type, okay, transaction type is equal to cash deposit, okay, what you need to do, you need to begin, you need to end. What you need to do, you need to update, okay, account master table, set clear balance is equals to what, clear balance plus transaction amount, okay, where whose account id is equal to at the rate account id, okay, whatever the account id you are going to be getting, that account id you are getting here, it is going to be updating the data. Fine. Okay, so this is a well, okay, this is well and good. So we, if the transaction type is a cash deposit, then you are going to be updating the account master table, set clear balance, okay, cash deposit means you are getting some amount, so that's why I have done plus addition. Okay, so again, okay, again, if, okay, this is a what, this is a what, this is for cash deposit. Okay, so one more, so for cash withdrawal, if at the rate transaction type is equals to cash withdrawal, okay, this is a cash withdrawal, then what I need to do, begin, end, okay, so update account master table, okay, set clear balance is equals to clear balance minus at the rate transaction amount, right? So when you do withdrawal means what, some amount has been debited from your account, okay, so this, it is going to be doing some minus and it is going to be updating the same thing. Understand, guys? Okay, so this is the thing you are going to be doing. Okay, this is the thing you are going to be doing. Okay, so this is well and good, end and end, so everything is fine. So let me create one trigger on this. Okay, commands completed successfully, done. So when I do cash
Sir,
deposit, just,
where clause?
yeah, I'm sorry, thank you so much, where ACID is equals to at the rate ACID, right? Very good. So now let me alter this, we can alter the trigger also. Okay, so we can drop the trigger, we can alter the trigger, okay, we can do all the things. Now everything is done successfully. Now let me do cash deposit. So what is the amount this guy is having, the what is the balance, 30,000 balance this guy is having. So I am doing some cash deposit of 2,000 rupees in the branch BR1. So now let me do this, one row affected, one row affected, that means, okay, one row has been updated in the transaction master and one row has been updated in the account master. Now let me execute this. Now see, this guy got 32,000 of a clear balance. Understand, guys? When you do cash withdrawal, so I am going to be doing the 12,000 rupees of cash withdrawal. So when you execute this, one row affected, one row affected, now go and read the data from this account, you are having a 20,000 only. Why? Because 32,000 minus 12,000, how much you are going to be getting, you are going to be getting a 20,000 only, same thing it has come, right? So this is the beautiful. So for example, I am going to be doing 20,000 rupees. No, not 20, 21,000 rupees of cash withdrawal. Actually, I'm having the 20,000 only. Okay. If I want to withdraw 21,000, is it going to be happen or not? Okay. When you execute one row affected, one row affected, now go and read the data. So see what are the transactions this guy has done today. So these many transactions, just now he has done the transaction 12,000, 21,000. When you go and execute this trigger, sorry, table, so you are having a minus 1,000 of clear balance. Okay, this is also bad data. You have created very wrong trigger. Okay, you have created wrong trigger, guys. So this is not the correct trigger. Okay, the cash deposit is correct. When you are going to be depositing the cash, the addition, okay, the update is going to be happening clearly. But when you do cash withdrawal, you are not going to be doing the correct, okay, you are not going to be doing the correct withdrawal, correct transactions, you are not going to be doing. That is an issue actually. Okay, so that is an issue actually. So what I need to do, sir, so before doing a cash withdrawal, if this cash withdrawal is, okay, transaction type is equal to cash withdrawal, then begin, don't update directly, do some validation. Okay, do some validation, check whether he or she, okay, he or she have the balance or not. Okay, this validation we are going to be doing now. Okay, so this validation we are going to be doing now. Now select, okay, select star from account master table where ACID is equals to @ACID. Understand, guys? So I am going to be doing some validation. I am going to be I am going to be verifying, I am going to be declaring one more variable, declare @cbal, right, clear balance or something. So this is a money data type. Now what I'm trying to do, so let me take this table. Okay, so let me remove the star. So clear balance, okay, whatever the balance you are having, that balance I am going to be giving here. Okay, @cbal. Okay, so now when you execute this, okay, when you execute this, what is going to be happening? The particular account id going and filtering that particular account id. So what that person is having, what balance is having, okay, that balance is going to be loading into the clear balance in this variable, right? Am I right? So I am going to be checking. So if this statement, okay, what you are going to be doing, so you are going to be checking whether this guy is having or not. Now I am going to be writing, I am going to be verifying this guy is having that balance or not. If, okay, @transaction amount, what is the transaction amount you are going to be doing is less than a clear balance. Okay, this balance, who is balance, okay, to which account id, to who is going to be doing this transactions, that account id balance is available in declaring this variable. So this variable I am going to be verifying this transaction amount is less than a clear balance. So you need to do some begin, okay, you need to end. Okay, so this, in this you need to write this kind of a code, this code you need to write it here. Okay, guys, so this is the thing you need to write. Okay, so this is the thing you are going to be writing, remember this point. Okay,
Sir,
yes please,
less than or equal to రాయకూడదా sir?
you can write. So for example, so you are going, your balance is going to be in 0. Okay, so many people, so for example, some people are maintaining some 5,000 rupees in their account. Okay, why? Because, so if they are going to be if for example, if your account balance is 5,000, you need to maintain completely the 5,000 continuously. So if you withdraw some 500 rupees from that, you are going to be having some charges on daily basis. Am I right? Okay, so that's why I have given. So if you are having the, okay, less than means at least 1 rupee is enough. Okay, at least 1 rupee is less than is enough. Understand? So this is the thing you are going to be doing. So that's why I have mentioned, if you want less than or equal to, you can give less than or equal to your wish. Okay, but I want only is less than. Okay, but I want only less than. Understand? So now I am going to be doing some update. If this is true, then update. Okay, if this is false, don't do any update. So let me explain you clearly now. So after this, if this is okay, if this is fine, then else you can write one small statement. Okay, you can write one small statement, begin, end. Okay, you can write one small statement else. Okay, so begin, end. So you can write one statement, you can write, you can print something. So this thing you can print it. You do not have, okay, sufficient balance in your account. Okay, so this is the thing you are going to be doing now. End, end. Okay, so this is the end. Okay, that's it. So when you alter this this complete trigger, okay, so when you do cash withdrawal of 20,000, you are having a balance of 20,000, right? So you are having some 10,000. Let me uh, do cash deposit of so 21,000. Okay, now let me see this. There is having 20,000. Now let me check the other people data. Okay, 13,000 this guy is having. Okay, this 13,000 this guy is having. So 10004. Okay, 10004. Get date BR1 or BR3, anything, cash deposit. So cash withdrawal when I do of how much, of 21,000 cash withdrawal I want to do, but this guy is having only 13,000. If you do 21,000 of cash withdrawal, is it going to be supporting? No, you do not have a sufficient balance in your account. Okay, so now let me go and execute this. You are okay, having the same balance of 13,000 only. If you want to do cash withdrawal or cash deposit or cash withdrawal of 1,000 rupees, now row affected, now go and execute this. Now 12,000 is gone. Okay, now 12,000 is available, 1,000 is okay, 1,000 we have done the transaction. Okay, so this is how we are going to be creating the triggers in the real time. Also we are going to be writing a more triggers in the banking sector. Why? Because banking sector completely on transactions, right? Most of the transactions we are going to be doing in the banking sector, right? Okay, so for that purpose we are going to be writing these triggers. Okay, so to do the most complex validations, so these are validations, right? These are complex validations. You can declare variable. Okay, you can insert some, you can do if and else, you can write looping, you can do while loop, all those things you can do and you can work on. Understand, guys? Okay, so this is the thing you need to understand, guys. Any questions, guys? Anybody is having any questions in this section?